Welcome back to the Anime Podcast. This is going to be a special episode 13 where we cover the last 4 episodes of Evangelion, which I have dubbed the Existential Crisis segment.
Definitely is.
So we just watched episodes 23, 24, 25, and 26.
The director's cuts on 23 and 24, and the TV versions, the broadcast versions of 25 and 26.
Right.
And
we're gonna dissect
no,
3 of them.
I don't think it's fair to say we're going to dissect them. That we would be giving ourselves way too much credit.
Well, we're gonna talk about them.
Yes,
Is that better?
it is. We
Okay.
took some pretty detailed notes for the first 2.
Well, yeah, you did.
Yeah. But for 25 and 26, we just let it roll, man.
Yep. Let's let the good times roll.
The good times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could really call those good times.
I don't think anyone was having a good time. I don't
No.
even know if we watching it were having a good time.
No, I was kind of just like, what the fuck is going on? It was the best I had.
It's hard. They can be hard to understand, especially 26 with its little segment where you feel as though Shinji has woken up and it's all been a dream, and then
Yep.
it slowly reveals itself, or quickly reveals itself, I guess, to be,
It was all a dream.
Well, shall we start with episode 23?
Yeah, we should.
What was the funny way you wanted to introduce this episode or whatever?
The existential crisis
Oh.
episode.
No, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Episode 23.
Shinji sad.
Yeah, Shinji is very sad. Why is he so sad? What made him so sad?
He doesn't like his life.
That's true. He doesn't like his life or himself. But I can't remember why exactly he was so withdrawn to start episode 23 off. Obviously, this is the episode where Rei dies.
Yeah.
I think that's 23. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because 24 is like all Kawaru all the time. There's no time for other characters. But yeah, Rei dies in this episode. So that would obviously be something that would really leave a big mark on him and cause him to like go to his room and not want to.
Right, but that doesn't
Talk to
happen
anybody.
right at the start.
Yeah. So why was he like so sad? I guess there's just a glum mood has kind of fallen over.
all
whole
of nerve,
cast.
honestly.
Yeah. Kaji's dead, and Misato is heartbroken,
Yeah.
and she keeps replaying his message on the answering machine.
I guess he's sad because everyone in his life has just become reserved and withdrawn, and
yeah. And Asuka has left the house.
yeah, so I think he's just feeling, the way everyone else is.
Yeah, that's a good point. Shinji doesn't have like this the strongest, most like self-possessed will, I guess. So he probably takes on the emotions, like the mood of other people around him. That's a good guess, I guess, as to why he's feeling the way he is. But he's always like in his room, cooped up in the dark, listening to his
Listening to his little cassette player.
Yes, cassette player.
Yep. It's the year 2016. Cassette players.
Cassette players, and also like
Dude, CDs were around.
biotechnology where you can create copies of someone's soul and put it in a cyborg.
CDs were around by the time this show was being developed. Why didn't they use CDs?
I don't know. Sometimes like directors will use stuff that they like the look of. So maybe there's some symbolic meaning to like the, in cassettes the tape is moving from one wheel to another.
From one side to the other, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's something symbolic about that. Or maybe it's supposed to be evocative of something, or maybe Anno just like it reminds him of a period in his life where he was just listening to music on his own, like shutting everyone else out, and that's how he was doing it.
I don't know. It's pretty hard to read into a cassette player.
Ava allows you for all its like opaqueness, I guess, opacity, and for all the confusing bits and the metaphorical bits and stuff. It is a show that allows you to
Draw your own conclusions.
Well, yeah, but it also allows you to analyze it. it doesn't cut you off and just present a whole bunch of nonsense. There are characters like,
Well, they present a whole lot of nonsense a couple times.
but characters will often speak about like how they're feeling, or other characters. For example, Misato often comments about Shinji,
Right.
like she speculates about
why he's still cooped up in his room, or why he's
why he
pulling
doesn't want
away.
to why he doesn't want to pilot the Ava, or how he has a hard time making connections, or all that stuff. She's often commenting about that, and I think other characters do as well. So it's the show doesn't lock you out entirely. It does let you in and let you figure out its characters a little bit.
Thankfully, it's third person omniscient.
Yeah.
It kind of have to be, considering the subject matter.
What do you mean?
Well, third person omniscient, the writing style has to do with it can see into you can see into the minds of everybody.
Yeah.
And
But when you say it would have to be, given the subject matter.
The subject matter being like, creation and destruction, angels and humans.
I know, but you could probably tell this story like just from Shinji's perspective. You could tell the same story with the same basic like plot beats. It just wouldn't be Ava anymore, because Ava is all like getting in everyone's head, especially in like the later 2 episodes that we watched.
I just meant omniscient as in like omniscient generally deals with like higher powers, and we're dealing with like essentially angels and humans.
I see.
Which
that's what we figure out in episode 24. But let's do 23 first.
Yeah.
So Asuka is staying at Hikaru's house. So maybe that's one of the reasons why Shinji is kind of upset.
Yeah.
Because she's gone, and it's just him and Misato in the house now, and Misato is obviously in mourning.
And she's gone a lot because she's working as well, because she's trying to carry on what Kaji wanted to do.
Right. Yeah, in addition to being her usual self at NERV and like repelling angel attacks and stuff, she's gotten the pill. We finally know what the pill is for.
The pill's a microchip. That's like, here's all the information I've collected. Keep going.
Right.
Find out. The truth is out there.
Yeah. I guess they're the Mulder and Scully of this show. Yeah, Shinji's sad. Asuka's gone. She's staying over at Hikari's, and she's just playing video games, and she doesn't want to go to school. She doesn't want to leave the house.
She still does show up for the angel attack, though.
That's true. Yeah.
The second to last angel, number 16.
A lot of the angel attacks in the show, like in the second half, it's just, oh no, there's an angel attack, and then suddenly cut to NERV, and
everyone's already there.
Yeah, everyone's already there. It's pretty clear that the show is compressing a lot of material and trying to fit it in at the very end here.
Time skip. I'm equipped with the ability to skip time. I skipped the spiral of depression and retardedness that led to this mess.
Okay. No one's going to understand that reference. Ray dies.
Yes.
So Shinji's sad. So is Asuka. So is Misato. There's a heavy cloud of sadness over the whole cast, and then suddenly an angel attack, because the angels don't,
Ray's not dead before the angel attack, though.
Well, she dies during the angel attack.
Yeah,
but this show, like, it doesn't. The angels show up like at the least convenient times during power outages. They start evolving in the middle of like magma when you've just sent someone down there to try to capture it. So I guess
as was foretold
by the Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah. So an angel appears. It's the 16th one, like you said, and it's a glowing
double helix
halo. Yeah, and it is when you look more closely, it is a helix.
Then it turns into a worm.
Yeah. So it's I don't know what the word is. Helical structure.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some word that indicates like, that something is a helix. Helical. I don't know what it is. But anyway, the fact that it's set up like a helix is kind of reinforcing the idea that angels are biological. They're sort of, as we'll learn later, they're like the counterparts to humans in the grand scheme of things. But Ray's sent out there first, and then they send Asuka out to back her up. Asuka literally cannot pilot the Ava. Her sync ratio is too low, so they bring her back.
So they're like, well, that doesn't work.
The way that the robot invades her is really creepy.
It just like it looks like there's a creature in like a real like worm type creature that does that exact effect in real life.
And makes your veins pop out and stuff like that?
When it contacts the surface, it just like spreads incredibly rapidly in that weird veiny pattern.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that happening in real life.
It's a parasite and it can like take over other things.
Yeah. Well, I guess it makes sense then that the angel took that like tentacle-like, worm-like form. But it does invade Ray and
the Ava.
Yeah, and the Ava as well. And
which
then
we learn are humans, sort of.
Well, we'd already deduced that they had
They're
souls.
born of Adam. Which, as we learn now, isn't actually...
No, the angels are born of Adam. Avas are...
We're told in previous episodes, though, that angels are born of Adam.
You mean that Avas?
Avas are born of Adam.
Yeah.
Right. We know now that that's not true.
Well, it is kind of true because they're using probably like samples of Adam that they got at the South Pole, or they're creating Avas in the image of Adam, kind of.
Right.
And also in the image of humans. They're just like our attempt at manufacturing miniature Adams. Anyway, Ray's fighting.
When you say Adam, do you mean the tiny little sample or the thing in the basement? Because that's not Adam.
No, the thing at the South Pole. The second impact.
Right. We still aren't clear. Did it contact, what is it called, Lilith?
Oh, are you asking whether that big glowing white beast was Adam or Lilith?
I know that it's not Adam.
I think it was Adam.
No. We learned that it's not.
What?
We learned it's not Adam.
When did we learn that?
When the final angel, episode 24, 17th angel.
No, the thing in the basement underneath Nerve,
right.
That is Lilith.
Yes.
But the thing at the South Pole, that was Adam.
Do we know that for certain?
Yeah. I mean, assuming that other characters weren't wrong. I mean, Kaji was wrong about the identity of the
right.
Ava-looking thing in the basement. He assumed it was Adam.
But it's not.
It's Lilith.
Which means if he ever talked about the second impact and he thought that was Adam and he said Adam, he was referring to the thing in the basement.
Yeah, but we got information about the second impact from...
like 6 places.
Yeah, from a bunch of other places. It was Adam.
Right. The sample that Kaji retrieved from the South Pole for Akari in like episode 7.
Well, he didn't retrieve it from the South Pole. He got it from some other organization. Remember, because he was like a double or a triple agent or something. He was working for other people.
He got it from SEAL, I believe.
Maybe it was SEAL or maybe it was something else. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that what was at the South Pole and what caused the second impact was remember they tried to inject DNA into Adam? There was that specific line during episode 21, I want to say, when we get that like security camera footage of what's going on at the South Pole.
And it rejected it.
So I think that
saw that glowing thing.
Yeah, I think that glowing thing was Adam.
And now it's...
But I'm not sure how Lilith got to be in the basement. Anyway, that's all real complicated stuff. The important thing in this episode is Ray. She gets taken over, and then she has that little conversation with a version of herself that might be the angel mimicking her appearance.
Right.
And there's also some element of a version of her inside the Ava.
Yeah. Because did we ever concretely learn who Unit 00 is?
What soul is inside Unit 00?
Yeah.
That's actually one of the big like mysteries of Ava. We know for sure that Unit 01 has Yui's soul inside of it.
And we know
Shinji's mother. And we can infer
that Unit 02 is Asuka's mother.
Right. But Ray, we learn in episode 23, I think, that she was born in that basement underneath Nerve.
Test tube baby.
Right, kind of, I guess. Or Petri dish or whatever. So I guess she was synthesized. She's just a vessel for whatever soul is inside of her. But I don't think we know who the soul in Unit 00 is. I kind of think that it's Ray. That whatever soul is inside Ray is also inside Unit 00.
And when they reconfigure it, are they just moving souls around?
I guess whatever technology they have that lets them do that, I guess that's what it is.
I also learned something else. Is it 23 or 24? We learned that the dummy plugs are Rey. They're literally
I think that was
the body.
I think that was
Rey.
23, wasn't it? Was it? I don't know. We just watched 4 episodes. It's hard to remember exactly. Yeah, no, that's in episode 23. That's at the end.
Okay.
So before that, Rey like makes contact with the angel, as Shinji did when he got absorbed by the Sea of Dirac, and as Asuka did when she got, remember that angel that shone the ray of light on her and was like
mind
corrupting her?
rape.
Right. So it was Rey's turn this time, and she did.
Yep, she asserted her authority, absorbed the angel,
Yeah, it was
and then
like
exploded.
it was like the reverse of giving birth. It kind of felt like to me. She does make up her mind to like protect Shinji, because she gets into a struggle with the angel.
Right.
And I can't remember exactly the nature of their conversation.
It's just, are you me? Am I me?
Yeah, but
who am I talking
there's
to?
always more to it than that. Whenever one of those scenes happens, it's love. I think that's what they're talking about. Like the angel is revealing to her true feelings or whatever,
Right.
and she makes
Search
some kind of
yourself. You know it to be true.
she makes some kind of comment about like, are these my real feelings for Ikari? For
Right.
Shinji,
Or
So-
are they given to me?
I guess, yeah. So the angel is trying to. It's a little strange because the angel seems to be trying to explain her own emotions to her. I guess that's a theme, really, because angels are shown to be kind of curious about human nature. That's why they keep like trying to contact humanity, I think. It's all pretty complex, man.
Yeah, it's quite odd.
So Rey, she gets contacted by the angel, and then gets all veiny and whatever, and then Shinji is sent out to rescue her,
Right.
and then the angel goes after him as well, the little worm thing, and we get that real creepy, unsettling shot of
Like little people start growing out of Shinji's hand.
he starts getting veiny too, and then you see a whole bunch of little human heads start
Yeah.
to bubble up out of his hand, and they speak in Rey's voice.
Yep.
But
As well as the end of it turns into like a giant version of Rey.
yes, yeah, and
After he stabs it.
Yeah.
And it screams with Rey's voice.
right. So the angel is like absorbing Rey, I guess. That's why it's taking on her physical appearance and her voice and stuff, even when it appears to Shinji. And so then, yeah, it does. The end of that little glowing tentacle thing seems to turn into Rey, and it like approaches Unit 01 and like caresses it.
And then like from the point it contacts it, starts to infect it as well.
Right. But Rey puts a stop to all that and does bring it back into herself. She kind of gains control over the angel, and then she self-destructs the Ava, I guess, and she blew up.
One thing that we never looked at or mentioned was the thing that grew out of Unit 00. What was
thing
that?
is that?
Do you remember this giant mass grows out of it?
Yeah.
What was that? Because it had a shape, like it looked like something.
Yeah, isn't that I don't know, man. It was kind of like brownish gray,
Yeah, I thought the head of it looked kind of like Lilith.
maybe.
Because it was a weird, grotesque mass, but I thought it looked like it had the 7
eyes and the triangle or whatever.
Yeah.
Seals logo.
Yep.
Yeah.
I find it odd that their logo is 7 and there are 12 of them.
I don't know, man.
You know,
Well, 12. There's a ton of biblical
references.
imagery and names being applied to angels and like there's the Dead Sea Scrolls and there's all that kind of stuff, them blowing up and looking like crosses. So it's not that strange that there would be 12 of them because they're the 12 apostles.
That's true.
Maybe that's the show's way of hinting to us that they're like the good guys or something.
That makes Gendo Judas.
No, that's not true. That would make him Jesus. Judas was one of the 12, wasn't he?
Is it? Yes, Judas was one of the 12, and so is Gendo. Gendo's one of SEAL, isn't he?
No, he's not a member of SEAL. He's a member of NERV. He's not one of the 12 guys.
Well, SEAL founded NERV. I thought he was one of the 12 of SEAL.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Anyway, Rey dies, but as she confusingly alluded to in a previous episode, like a while ago, if she dies, she can be replaced. And in this episode, we learn exactly what that means.
Yeah. There are a bunch of her.
There are multiple Reys.
And they just move the soul that they backed up recently into her.
So we know that Rey actually died because after we come back from the commercial break in episode 23, and you pointed this out as we were watching, you do see that shot of the entry plug, I guess.
And there's just like a
charred hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's dead, and Ritsuko is giving orders to people like, this is top secret. People can't know about this.
Yeah. Don't say anything.
So there is a third Rey, and she does appear to be aware of the fact that she's
the third Rey.
Yeah. She says, I think I'm the third. And she's lost her memories, but her soul seems to... Like I
think she's only lost her recent memories. Because my theory, after we saw this coming into it, we see multiple times earlier where she's in that tube. And now my theory is that's like a data backup or something. That's like they're taking a current version of her soul and storing it.
Right.
As she like learns and grows and becomes more human.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And I think it's a fair assumption to say that Rey has an artificial soul.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
You think her soul's from someone else?
Yeah, no, her body's definitely artificial. It's a vessel for a soul.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rey's soul is artificial. I think there's someone in particular whose soul inhabits her body. I can't really say much more about that because there's still more to go. We're still gonna watch EOE.
End of Evangelion.
So, but we know that even though Rey's memories aren't really, at least her recent memories aren't with her anymore. Her soul transferring from body to body does give her like the ability to maybe not recall stuff, but she has impressions about people. Like whenever she cries several times in this episode,
right?
And she doesn't really understand why she's doing it.
She's like, "What? Hello?"
The glasses, the Gendo's glasses from when he saved her.
And once version 3 sees him, she's like, why do I feel so strongly about these?
Yeah, doesn't she try to break them?
Yeah.
And then she decides not to.
Yeah. Because she hates him and cares about him at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine being a soul that is constantly shifted between bodies would make you kind of have a tormented existence.
Yeah, and we find out later on that she wants to die. Like in episode 25 when they're doing all the little breakdowns of each character.
Yep.
Rey's to me is the most interesting, but we'll get there. So Ritsuko destroys all the dummy backups. She destroys the dummy system by getting rid of all the Rey clones.
Yep.
Why does she do that?
I think it's Seal's orders.
I mean, at that point, she had been taken to Seal.
Yeah.
Gendo gave her over to Seal so that he wouldn't have to give over. Yeah. Exactly. Because they demand that a human sacrifice be given to them. They need a human sacrifice, they say, in order to counter Gendo. So I don't know if maybe that's a bad translation of hostage, or maybe they need a human sacrifice in like a kind of Full Metal Alchemist way. I guess that remains to be seen because we didn't get the whole picture in terms of human instrumentality.
Right. As well as maybe it's possible Seal has some ability to control people's minds.
Um,
And
maybe.
Gendo figured out some way to stop that from happening.
But there is a simpler explanation for why Ritsuko destroyed.
Well,
The
because
dummy
Rei
system.
seemed to have been a product of her mother. I remember at
What do you
some
mean?
point some dialogue that while all the different rays are just disintegrating and falling down.
Yeah.
She mentions it's like we were fools to do this. I failed. My mother failed. She talks about that. So
Yeah, there's a different meaning to that than you think. I don't know if I should give it away just yet. I think I probably can because End of Eva doesn't really have anything to do with it. Oh, you know what? No, I can't. There is a much more dramatic version of the Ritsuko Rei in the like Terminal Dogma scene in End of Evangelion. So I won't say too much more about that. But there is a different reason for why Ritsuko destroyed the dummy plug system. I don't think it was just Seal's orders. But they did have her as a hostage, or they kidnapped her or whatever. So
but they didn't sacrifice her.
yeah,
She's still alive.
I wonder if sacrifice is a bad translation of hostage, because you do have to consider that sometimes when you're watching anime. Like, is this a perfect localization? Is it the best it can be? Are there some inaccuracies? So I'm not sure about that.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we see the destruction of the dummy plug system. Ritsuko, she destroys it, and Misato and Shinji are there,
Right.
because they've gained access with Misato holding a gun to Ritsuko's head.
Well, Misato gained access.
But Shinji,
Shinji was already there. Ritsuko had brought Shinji.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that they gain access because Misato forces her way in at gunpoint.
Right, but what is it? Ritsuko wanted to show Shinji.
Really?
Yeah. Otherwise, why was he there?
Because Misato brought him.
No. Misato shows up.
And then the light shines on Shinji afterwards.
Right, because she says, but only if I can bring him.
I remember what you're saying, but I don't think she says only if I can bring him. She says more like, but he's coming too.
Right.
I didn't get the impression that Ritsuko wanted Shinji to see what she was about to do.
I think Ritsuko brought him.
Okay. Well, it's pretty clear that Ritsuko's not totally stable, mentally, at the end when she's on her hands and knees lamenting the fact that she has.
Right.
She's destroying everything and she doesn't care, and she wishes that Misato would just kill her. Anyway, let's do episode 24.
Okay.
This is the Kawaru episode. This is the episode to me where it's most evident that
running out of time.
Yeah, that the show is running out of time and needs
We're running out of time
to just cram a whole bunch of stuff into one episode. It's real, and I wonder if I don't know if it's ever been confirmed that Eva was supposed to run for 39 episodes or anything. I'm not sure about that. That's something I'd be interested in looking up, actually. But I wonder, given the 26 episode length that they were forced to work with, or that they worked with, if all this stuff with Kawaru was contained to one episode because of the fear of people reacting badly to the tension between Shinji and Kawaru. The gay relationship between them.
It's possible that they didn't know if they were getting the third, and they found out around the production of a certain episode. They didn't know.
Well, I don't know
how many episodes they were going to get. They didn't know if they were getting the third slot.
Well, it's pretty clear that most of these last few episodes were made in a time crunch right before they were set to come out. Because you can see in the previews that you can just watch the last two episodes and tell that there's a lot of reused footage and still photographs and stuff.
Look at this photograph.
That'd be a really good version of that meme, I guess. A picture of Hideaki Anno holding up a photo of, like telephone wires or whatever. One of the pictures that he
Yeah.
used, like a crow going through garbage or something. Oh boy. The way episode 24 opens is with Asuka, like in her memories, running to her mother to brag about how she's been selected to be an Eva pilot, and then she stumbles upon
On her mother's hanging
corpse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we see Asuka in a bathtub. We don't know where.
Right. My theory is that it's like the derelict remnants of Kaji's apartment.
I mean, Neo Tokyo 3
Is destroyed.
was, pretty much destroyed. I mean, the blast looked kind of nuclear, but they're even wearing like special suits when they go to retrieve the dummy plug.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Like
if
radiation
it was
suits.
or not. But I mean, part of Neo Tokyo 3 is still standing, right? Because Misato's apartment is still there.
Right. She makes a point to mention we're on the outskirts.
Right. But Asuka's somewhere. It kind of makes sense that the house is totally, whatever house she's in or whatever apartment she's in or whatever, is like there's a hole in the ceiling and whatever.
Yeah.
It must have been from the blast.
Floorboards are all destroyed. Yeah.
I don't think the show does a good enough job of depicting the city in ruins.
Well, it's because there's a crater that just fills with water.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I wish it had done more. More shots of people's apartments, maybe. Like
At a certain point, you do see during episode 24 when Shinji and Misato are like looking out over it. You see that there's just water and buildings like just like crumpled in
that lake that's formed. Yeah, and the lake is where Kawaru, who is the 17th and final angel, I suppose, receives his instructions from the seal monoliths. So he is an angel, and he's an odd character. So the big question, I guess,
he's a plot device.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way because he enters, like he comes on stage, I guess, so to speak, so quickly and then leaves just as fast. In one episode, he appears, he's introduced, and he seems to die.
Yeah. Well, you hear a big crunch and then you see a splash.
Yeah, it seems like his body or just his head maybe like falls into the LCL.
Yeah.
And at the very lowest level of nerve. Because that's where he and Shinji fight at the end. But before that, Kawaru like introduces himself to Shinji by that lake when Shinji's in total despair at this point.
Yeah.
The city's in ruins. Rei is dead. Asuka is mentally broken.
Hasn't Rei come back at this point? They got a phone call in 23.
That's true. But it's a different version of Rei, and he seems to be aware of that. Like he can't bring himself to face her.
It's like she's different now.
Yeah. So Shinji is like in total despair, and Kawaru appears to him and is interested in him and is kind to him and says that he loves him, which we learn later is the only time that Shinji remembers hearing that.
Right.
So the big question, I guess, since everybody's so obsessed with everyone else's sexuality in general, is Shinji gay? So what's your thought?
I guess. I mean, but for younger people, for any people, he doesn't have to be necessarily gay. He could be bisexual.
Yeah, that's possible.
You can have, feelings for people disregardless of sex or gender.
Disregardless. Just say regardless.
Yeah, regardless.
Don't say irregardless, because that's not a word.
Irrigationless. Yeah, I don't think just being like, well, he's obviously gay, because there's, lots of points throughout the TV show that he's, attracted or interested in, his female co-stars.
Name one.
I mean, he gets like super nervous and stuff around Asuka, though. The one episode where she's kind of just like flaunting herself at him.
Does he?
Yeah.
The one where she's in the bathing suit and she's like, Shinji, look at me.
Yeah, I mean, he gets...
Oh, yeah, that's
he
true.
gets really flustered about it. I don't know...
But couldn't that just be his, like, social anxiety or just awkwardness?
Being like, what do?
And remember the episode where Asuka wants to kiss him?
Yeah.
Like, she says just for fun or just for practice.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to be, like, that into it. He's just like, sure, I'll do it. I'm not afraid. Because she taunts him.
Yeah. And he falls on top of Rey, like, really early on.
Oh, he does get really...
And she's like... She's completely naked. She's like, can you move?
Yeah.
Please.
And he does seem to be more than just flustered. He does seem to be like, you know...
Whoa.
Yeah, like kind of aroused as well.
Yeah.
The scene that I'm thinking of, I just said name one to you as a challenge. Like, I don't disagree that Shinji is attracted to women. The one that I'm thinking of is where Asuka has like first moved into his and Misato's apartment and she's asleep.
Yeah.
And he's like going in to kiss her, and then she cries out in her sleep for her mother. And
he's like, nope, nope. Other side of the room, let's go.
So he may be bisexual. Or it's possible that all of his blushing and like stuttering around Kaworu is just because
it's like, I don't know how to handle this kind of affection. Like people being interested in me and, you know, wanting to spend time with me. It's obscure to him. You know, he hasn't seen or had anyone, you know, love or care about him like that he can remember in his life.
Right. Because his mom died when he was so young.
Yeah. And he knows that Misato caring about him is just her job. At least what he perceives in his head.
Yeah.
And she admits to herself over time that it's like it's more than just a job.
Yeah. I think
so.
She wants to act motherly towards Shinji, but I think she gives it her best effort and fails most of the time.
Well, it's hard to be the director of Nerve, an alcoholic, and a mother.
She's not the director of Nerve. She's like the
commander. Doesn't she become commander?
She's some kind of captain or lieutenant, or she becomes a colonel or something at the end, right?
Yeah,
that's what they call her. She's the head of the tactical division.
Yes,
but it's Gendo who's the
I mean, but you know what I mean. She has a high stress job.
She has a high stress job,
high stress, long hour job.
She has a high stress relationship with her ex, who
for 8 years,
who kind of manipulates her a little bit.
Yeah.
More than a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, he uses her to get information.
Yeah, and he also uses her for sex.
Right, but he says at some point in his like dying message, like, I want to say to you what I said.
Yeah, if I see you again, I'll say the words I couldn't say.
Right, what I should have said 8 years ago.
I guess that's when they were in college.
Yeah.
And we can assume that those words are I love you.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't blame... Misato's my favorite character. I don't blame her for her failure to give Shinji what it is that he needs. But it's still tragic that she can't. What were we talking about? Kaworu.
Yeah.
So is Shinji gay? I don't think so. I don't even know if he's bisexual. I don't know if he's attracted to men, because the show doesn't really give us enough time to learn that for sure. Because Kaworu is like in and out in a heartbeat.
Yep. He's a friend. He's friendly for 12 and a half minutes, and then he's an enemy for 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah. Although I would say that he maintains his interest in Shinji and his love for Shinji the entire time. You have to question, like, obviously Seal sends him.
Yeah.
The show says as much.
They do seem to send him with misinformation, though.
What do you mean?
He thinks he's going to meet with Adam, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not Adam. It's Lilith, which we learn for the first time as viewers, because previously we thought that what was in the basement underneath Nerve was Adam, Kaji had told that to Misato. But it's actually Lilith. Did we know? I can't remember. Did we know anything about Lilith? Had we ever heard that term before?
Nope.
Before this episode?
Okay. Or at least not that I can tell or remember.
Yeah. This episode definitely dumps a lot of names and concepts real quick. Like the scene where he's out in the middle of the lake and he's receiving instructions. And
he's talking to Seal, and they're talking about like the white moon and the black moon, and like
that's the like the deep lore.
It's like Adam is the progenitor of the angels, and Lilith is the progenitor of humans.
Yeah, who are also called Lilin.
Lilim,
right?
Lilin?
Maybe it is Lilim.
I think it's Lilim.
Yeah. Okay. That's what Kaworu is constantly referring to. He's constantly talking to humans or talking about humans by using that term.
Yep.
Oh boy, it was definitely some. It's real left field stuff.
And then we haven't even touched on the fact that Ray exhibits some sort of AT field or a wave pattern that is interpreted initially by machines as an angel.
Right.
Because she just randomly appears in Terminal Dogma.
Yeah.
So we don't know if she like teleports or flies, or if she has access, or if she can
it's
float,
or if it's yet another Ray.
Yeah, that's Ray 4. That's a possibility.
Yeah. Ritsuko destroyed the dummy system, but there may be, who knows, there may be more Rays
with souls
in other places. Yeah.
Because we also learned that an AT field is love.
Yeah, well, no, it's a
human soul. It's a soul.
No, it's like the barrier that people put up around their heart.
That would explain why Shinji's AT field is so strong.
Well, it's not his; it's Unit 01's, right? Well, so it would be his mother's.
Right, but it's also him as well,
I guess. Yeah, all that stuff from Kaworu about AT fields being like the guards that people put up around their hearts. That is not really satisfying to me. Like
I would have much rather it have been just like a mystical force.
Well, it's not a mystical force, isn't it? Like scientific?
Apparently not.
I guess
it can be interpreted scientifically, but its origin is not like it's a wave pattern generation based on the.
But it is a wave pattern or whatever. It's a physical like force field that is the manifestation, I guess, of people wanting to guard themselves from emotional damage.
So then, if all the angels have it, but they're not people.
Well, angels are like
angels have an AT field.
Yeah.
Avas have an AT field.
And that's because Avas are like approximations of Adam.
So angels have a soul then.
I think that's pretty safe to say. Yeah. They just aren't Lilim. They don't have the same form as we do. And they don't have the same language or the same biology. Even though they are really close. We know that they're super close. Way back in episode whatever.
It's like 99.8% match or something for our DNA.
Yeah. So Adam and Lilith must be pretty similar then, because if humans come from Lilith and if angels come from Adam, then Adam and Lilith must be like, I don't know, twins or whatever.
Offspring of the same moon. Because remember, they reference like the white moon and the dark moon.
Yeah,
which
that has not been explained.
You can also assume like the light side and the dark side of our literal moon.
The show definitely uses the moon as like a theme or a motif. Think about the ending song. It's Ray upside down rotating with the moon in the background. And the show often like...
And the song is called Fly Me to the Moon.
Well, yeah. But the show also shows the moon a lot.
Yeah, I think it may be possible that when they say that, it sounds figurative, but it may literally be the two halves of the moon.
The part that we can see and the part that's like in shadow on the other side, the sun isn't hitting.
In perpetual darkness, yeah.
It's interesting. What else about this episode? What else is there to say? There's a ton to say, probably. Oh, we know that Adam's soul is like Kaworu isn't just an angel. He's the final angel, the final messenger, as Ritsuko calls him.
The final boss.
And Adam's soul is in Kaworu.
Or part, is it Adam's soul or part of it?
Maybe it's just part of it, but
I think it's part of its, or Adam's soul is in him.
Yeah.
But part of Adam's resurrected body is Gendo.
Yeah. Well, we see, remember that shot of Gendo's hand with the
eyeball,
the embryo thing or whatever?
Yeah.
That's the thing that Kaji delivered to him, which you talked about earlier in this podcast.
Yep. And he's talking to Unit 01.
Yeah. Do you remember what he calls it?
He calls it his wife's name, doesn't he?
Yes, Yui. Yeah.
Yui.
So that's like the final confirmation.
That's like, hey,
if you haven't figured it out by now,
I'll just tell you.
Yeah. You have to wonder like how many moments of the show how many moments like that where the show gives away a piece of information. You have to wonder how many of those moments
could you have
were
inferred?
foreshadowed.
Yeah.
I'm sure that especially with all the scenes where like a bunch of rapid images flash on the screen, which are they go all throughout the show, starting probably around the midpoint, which is when the show starts to get a little weirder. It's Kaworu's introduction is definitely strange. Despite that, though, he's like a fan favorite character.
Really?
Yes, people love Kaworu in Japan, especially. Even though he, seems to be, you gay or whatever.
Depends on your point of view, whether it's ew or not.
Well, I guess, but I'm also not convinced that it's like romantic love. I think that the angel Kaworu or Adam or whatever you like is like understands the pain that Shinji's in
and is just curious to learn more.
Yeah, and is sympathetic.
It's like I'm the last of my kind, so
yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason why Kaworu can empathize is that he's the last angel. All right, that's probably enough about 24. Let's talk about the 2-part finale.
Okay.
So how did you initially phrase it to me when we finished watching those episodes?
What? I think it was the first thing I said. But elaborating more on that was basically it felt like it was kind of just phoned in. I think is exactly what I said.
What about it was phoned in?
All of it.
Yeah, but what aspects of the finale made you think that?
Just, and you pointed this out too. There's a lot of still shots, a lot of shots that have been used earlier. There were literal photographs from our world, just with filters on them.
Yeah.
A lot of text on screen.
Yeah.
And it really appears
that's something Ava's done before.
It really appears that the writer at some point was directly speaking to the audience.
You mean at the very end?
Yeah. And at the start of episode 25, I think.
Yeah. No, it's at the start of episode 26 where
that's what I meant. I meant 26.
Like the text on screen indicates that human instrumentality is underway, but we don't have time to show you everything. So instead,
here's Shinji's side of it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, to be fair, Shinji is the central character of the show, and it's his emotional journey, I think, that carries him towards the end of the world or whatever. And the way that he responds to it is what the show is trying to depict. And even if the show had more time to indicate what's happening, like physically to the earth, to people, to their souls during instrumentality, it's still what Shinji experiences that the show is interested in depicting.
I think we could talk about 25 because there are 25 has a little bit more. Some stuff is still going on happening inside of it than 26 does, because 26 is all about Shinji's experience through the Instrumentality Project. But 25 has a couple points that are speaking to it because we see a couple
Such
other
as what?
characters, such as Gendo speaking to Rei and saying, "This is what you're created for. This is your time," essentially.
Right. Yeah.
That specifically.
So whatever plan it is that Gendo has, Seal obviously wants to bring about human instrumentality, but Gendo has other plans.
I think so. My theory behind it, which I haven't seen the end of Evangelion, which may completely destroy my idea, I think, is that the Human Instrumentality Project essentially just like condenses the human race down to our thought processes and our minds and our souls all kind of like melding into
I mean, that's definitely what's happening in these 2 episodes.
a
The
giant
show
computer for
explains as much, like through Ritsuko and through Gendo.
yeah. And there's a concept in science fiction called the singularity, which is where all collective consciousness and idea and thought are like built into one supercomputer, and we all exist in like the perfect world for the rest of all time.
I don't think sci-fi invented that. Isn't that the end in like Buddhism? Doesn't everything return to oneness?
Well, in science fiction, it like goes into a computer, and then everyone
Yeah.
can just live out whatever life they want for all eternity.
Right. And I think the show is presenting the idea that Shinji has that power. Remember when, like at the end of 25, I guess, when they're all on, there's a room and a stage, and
Yeah.
you see that everything, all the characters sitting in chairs and being asked questions like that flash on screen as text, and they respond to them.
Yeah.
That's all been revealed as kind of like a play. Everyone explains to Shinji at that time that he kind of has control over what's going on,
Right.
and he can shape reality almost.
Yeah, you can shape your instrumentality almost.
Yeah.
Or like that because Shinji's like closed himself off from the rest of the hive mind almost that is everyone else. He's like put himself in that room.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what it says.
It's a reflection of his, I guess, his thought process, his mentality.
Right.
So everything that's happening on screen is happening in his mind.
Yeah.
And the little segments with Misato and Rei and Asuka, whenever Shinji appears to them, he's like, "Oh, this is my conception of you, and this is your conception of me that are
speaking to each other right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and that's happening in instrumentality. But the show leaves us completely in the dark about how exactly instrumentality is brought about.
And what it is. Well,
Yeah.
we get an
We-
idea.
we
We
know-
get an idea.
We
of
know
what
pretty
it
much what
is.
it is. You just explained it. So,
Yeah.
but going back to your theory about what Gendo's plan is, as opposed to Seal
Yeah, what Gendo's plan or Seals is to bring about
instrumentality.
instrumentality. Everyone is one.
Yeah.
And I think Gendo wants to reverse that. Gendo wants to put the world back the way it is. But instrumentality was brought about by Seal, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Last Angel. And Gendo, it's mentioned several times that it's like we don't need, or Seal says we don't want the power of a god.
They say we have no need for a fully realized God.
Right, we have no need for a fully realized God, which is
Eva 01.
Yeah, Eva 01, which he speaks to Eva 01 with, part of Adam showing on him.
Right. And
with, Rei was built for a specific purpose, and he speaks to her in the Instrumentality Project and is like, this is what you were created for.
So you think that his goal is to stop Seal, to make it so that instrumentality is reversed and that people can continue to live as like individuals and they won't be part of the singularity?
Yeah.
So would you say then that Gendo is the hero of the story?
Overall, I'd say so. I'd say that he's Machiavellian. Like the ends justify the means. Like he'll do anything to get to his.
Yeah, he'll manipulate his son. He manipulated both Ritsuko and her mother.
Yeah.
That's something we didn't talk about in episode 23. What we learn about Ritsuko and Gendo's relationship. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, they had slept together at some point.
Yeah. So he probably manipulated both of them, like emotionally, romantically, in order to get them to continue working for him and bring his plan closer to fruition, I guess.
Something we also never mentioned, all the dead Avas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ava graveyard.
Yeah, where there's
The
like...
graveyard.
There were tons of them.
Yep.
Dozens almost.
Yeah.
And they were all failed.
There were tons of them, dozens almost. That's like saying there were millions of them, dozens almost.
Well, dozens being plural, like...
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, a lot of we've only ever seen 3 Avas. So
No, that's not true. We saw Unit 03 brought over from America, right?
No, it disappeared.
Yeah, I know, but we saw it.
No?
Toji was in it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and then it was instantly destroyed.
Yeah. I think that was 03. And then 04 or
Just
something.
disappeared.
And we know that Seal is mass producing Avas at this point.
Yep.
They're getting ready for their end game or whatever.
And we see none of them. We don't even see the end game. It's all just obscured.
You'll see some of the end game in the movie. Episode 25, we do see some actual real stuff that's going on before instrumentality. We see a continuation of the previous episode where it's Shinji and Misato by the lake.
Yep.
But I think really quickly it morphs into the characters sitting on that chair with the spotlight, the little circle of light underneath them, and all their thoughts are like swirling around, I guess, because they're part of the collective consciousness. So you see a whole bunch of stuff. Like you see, there's a kind of an examination of Misato's character, going into more detail about her relationship with Kaji and why she was so afraid of getting more involved with him because
daddy issues.
Yeah, but you also see like Shinji observes their relationship, and
Right.
I think you can infer based on a specific scene that he sees them having sex.
Yeah, he observes the physical aspect of the relationship. It's like, I don't want anyone to see this. It's like, no, you do.
Yeah, people
you want everyone to see this.
I can't remember who's accusing her of it. Is it Shinji or is it like Asuka who says to her specifically, you wanted Shinji you wanted to show yourself to Shinji this way.
I think multiple voices say it because they say the same thing over and over. It's like you wanted Shinji to see this. You wanted X to see this. You wanted blank to see this.
You wanted your father to see this.
Yeah, you wanted everyone to see this.
Yeah, and she's got her hands over her ears. She's like looking down. She's screaming.
No, I can't hear you. Doing one of those.
So that they got into her character a little bit that way. And
we also saw a flash
something similar with what?
Of Ritsuko and her both dead.
Yeah.
Or what appeared to be.
That's true. So do you think that actually happened, or do you think that was like metaphorical, or do you think that was a part of instrumentality, or?
I think it actually happened.
Yeah.
That's my guess, but there's quite literally no way to know.
Yeah, not yet. We did see flashes of them dead, yeah. But that was only like 2 still images compared to a much larger part of the episode where it's characters being interrogated by
themselves,
black backgrounds with white text.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess themselves. Or not, no, maybe not themselves, maybe just other people
Adam.
in instrumentality. Yeah. When in doubt, just say it was Adam or Lilith, whatever.
Yeah. Lilith was well, Adam, if everyone joins the hive mind, because Adam is part of Gendo, wouldn't Adam join it?
No, because it's just Adam's body that's grafted onto Gendo.
His soul. You're right.
Kawaru is
his soul.
Adam's soul, and he's dead at this point, we think.
So his soul is nil.
Yeah, I guess. And I'm not sure that that people, the offspring of Adam, are involved in instrumentality. I think it might just be the offspring of Lilith.
Right, the humans.
Yeah.
Well, the offspring of Adam are involved because they're the angels.
Yeah, but are they in instrumentality? Are they part of the soup? You know?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they're all destroyed. Unless they're the ones asking the questions because they don't have any answers.
Maybe they are the ones asking the questions. Who knows, man? hopefully we'll get as many answers as possible from End of Eva. The most interesting of all the character breakdowns to me was Rey's in 25, where it's made clear that she's like aware of the fact that she's just a vessel for a soul that's being passed between bodies, and
when necessary. Yeah.
And she claims like multiple times that what she wants is death. She just wants everything to end and for everything to return to nothing. So she's in favor of instrumentality, I think. But then other people start appearing to her and like quizzing her on whether that's what she really wants, and she comes to the realization that she's afraid to die now. She's developed a fear of nothingness.
Before she didn't have that, but I remember she becomes introspective and realizes, like, as she's grown, as her soul has gained more experiences, it's changed her.
Yeah.
Rather than just...
She's met people and she wants to hold on to those connections.
Because remember, at some point, she... what is it? I don't remember his name, but the guy who piloted O3... Toji told her that Shinji liked her. Just like, you can't tell?
No, that's not how it went. He said, you like Shinji.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, right. And she's like, wait.
I do?
What?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. And because of Rey's personality, it's hard for us to point out concrete examples of that being the case. But I think the show does a good enough job of implying it. Rey is still complicated. She's still a mystery. And that's probably why I was most interested in her little segment.
Her revealing a bunch of stuff about herself, essentially.
Right. I wish we'd gotten one for Ritsuko, man. Because she's still a bit of a question mark as well. We know now about her relationship with Gendo. Whether that's ongoing, whether that's been going on throughout the series, I don't really know. But
what I found interesting, the end shot, which we're going to be using for this, when they're all standing around, Shinji's mother's there.
Right.
Because of 01. The soul,
I guess, because it was a human soul that was still present, like on Earth or whatever. So I guess it.
But we didn't see
Asuka's mother.
We didn't see Asuka's mother, or who would have been, or the question mark that would have been 00.
Yeah, like whoever's soul is in Unit 00. Yeah.
Right.
I mean the very end where they're all standing on top of the Earth,
right,
or whatever, and clapping. That's completely symbolic. That's not actually happening.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the last little bit of Shinji's mindscape and instrumentality before he escapes it. If he escapes it.
Right. If Gendo has managed to shut down the system.
Yeah, who knows what Gendo's up to.
Maybe everyone's just been in a soup in a Magi somewhere.
Yeah, and it's like the Matrix.
Yep.
Perhaps, dude. Maybe everyone is just part of the Magi.
Maybe this is all just a simulation.
Yeah. The show kind of tries to pull a fast one. It's kind of similar to that. And at the end of in the middle of 26, I guess.
It kind of pulls Lost tried to pull an Evangelion at the end of it.
Where Shinji like appears to wake up from a dream or from instrumentality or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's time to go to school.
Asuka's your child. Asuka's the cute childhood friend. Rey is the best
transfer student.
New grill.
She's the transfer student who has a piece of bread in her mouth and is like late for school and she's running.
Yeah.
It's a big time anime trope.
Yep. And also,
specifically like the piece of toast in your mouth late to school running there and crashing into someone.
I remember it seemed like the super stereotypical anime was what they were trying to pull off, which they did. I also thought it was really interesting. It's like, that's the fastest she's ever talked.
Who? Rey?
Rey, yeah.
Who says that?
No, that's how I thought that. Okay. I was like, she never speaks more than like a word a second.
Right.
She always speaks super slowly and deliberately rather than like
really cheerful,
hyperactive and cheerful and happy. It's like, what?
And Misato was the teacher.
Yeah.
But they reused the footage of her walking in from the car.
Yeah, they did.
They did edit. You remember how she like her car like, spins into
Slides
the parking
in
lot.
Yeah.
And there's the scene of Kensuke and Toji like out the window with like
They
hearts
added
in their
Shinji
eyes.
to it.
Yes, they added Shinji. So his reaction now is he's also, fallen for Misato, who's the teacher now.
Right.
But they couldn't complete that scene because at a certain point it devolved into those like drawings, which were also used for other parts of instrumentality earlier in 26. So definitely a lot of half measures used to
disguise the we're running out of money.
Yeah, they ran out of time and money. That becomes pretty clear when you watch. But some of them were pretty creative, some of them not so much.
Yeah.
So the finale for me, the last 2 episodes are like a mixed bag. Where there's a focus on a lot of other characters in 25, I think it's mostly about Shinji in 26.
That's fair.
And thanks. I'm glad it's fair.
So that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, it's mostly about him, and I think what he realizes is that it's okay to just be. That he doesn't need to be too anxious or to worry too much about what others think about him or how he can best ingratiate himself to other people or how he can win their praise or their approval.
Your worth is not defined by others' perception of you.
Yeah, exactly. That's big in Eva. Am I like, who am I? Am I who I believe myself to be, or am I actually?
Yeah, and
am I just the sum of other people's perceptions?
Yeah, one of the big examples of that is obviously Asuka, because that's, she literally says it out loud several times.
What does she say exactly? She
defines her worth by, how well she can do, which is,
No, I think other people, especially Rei, accuse her of that. Asuka claims to be doing it for herself. Like, I want to prove that I'm the best for me.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty obvious.
If you're doing something to prove, that you're the best, you're doing it so that other people think you're the best.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if this show does either. I think it might be possible to want to be the best just for yourself. But Asuka is not really capable of that.
No.
She didn't have a great time growing up,
No, none of them did, really.
Yeah, this show is definitely...
Rei was stuck in a laboratory.
Yeah, a petri dish or test tube baby.
Shinji lived with his teacher.
Yeah, we still don't know anything about his teacher.
And Asuka was raised with his stepmom, her stepmom.
Well, she was raised at first by her own
right,
mother and
yeah,
father. But then
years.
her mother kills himself, and her mother
her mother kills himself.
Her mother killed herself. She witnesses it. Her mom even invites her to die with her.
Yeah, but she's holding the doll, thinking it's her daughter.
Yeah, no. I think you can infer that she actually invites Asuka to die with her.
Right,
Asuka the girl.
I think
not just the doll.
I think that she thought the doll was her daughter, though.
She did, for sure.
Yeah. So she invited, and she took her with her. She took what she assumed was her daughter with her to die, but it was just the doll. Rather than actually taking the kid.
I don't know. I think she may have tried to convince Asuka the real girl to die with her.
I don't know.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
I think she was talking to the doll the whole time. I don't think Asuka ever heard that conversation.
Well, then why does Asuka remember it?
What if... Does she?
I don't know. That's a good question. This is the kind of show where you would need to rewatch it very closely in order to figure out exactly what's going on. And
that happens in 25, doesn't it? At the start of 25?
Is it the start of 25 or 24? No, it's the start of 24 where Asuka's like running and she's really proud of herself for having been picked as an Eva pilot, and she wants to tell her mom, and she stumbles across her mom hanging.
I think hearing her mom invite her, though, is in 25, isn't it?
Maybe.
Because if it is,
It probably is, because that's when it
because
starts.
if it
really
is,
examining
her soul, her mom's soul would be part of instrumentality, possibly.
Well,
Because
but her
she was
mom's
the Ava,
her mom's dad, right?
right? But her soul lives on in the Ava, and the soul may contain
Oh,
some
right,
of your
right.
memories.
Yeah. That's true. Her mom would have to be part of instrumentality if Yui's part of instrumentality.
Right.
Yeah. So what Shinji, his whole thing throughout 26 is he hates himself, and
He discovers his sense of self-worth.
I guess, yeah.
Essentially.
He figures out that it's okay to just be himself, and that he does have worth as an individual.
Yeah.
Outside of whether people think of him, and outside of his role as piloting the Ava.
He is worth other than that.
Yeah, and that's when you see this, like,
the stage and the room he's in shatter.
Right. It all starts cracking as he realizes that he is who he is, and that's all right. And then everyone applauds for him. He claps. They all clap, and he sees his mom and dad together.
And that's it.
And he says thank you. And then
Ano's like,
leaves
hey,
us with a few words.
Thanks.
It's like to my
peace, nerds.
To my yeah, you kind of get that feeling that he's like, buzz off, everybody. Here's the finale. Hope you're happy. There is a bit of that. A lot of people think that Evangelion is, especially like what comes after the TV show, like the movies, the rebuilds in particular, are kind of like his middle finger to his fan base. And his like rejection of otaku culture in general. Like he's advocating for people to have like real, authentic experiences, but the people who love his work are not doing that. They're, sitting in their room watching Evangelion over and over and buying like figurines and merchandise and stuff. But I don't want to speculate too much about that, because I wasn't part of Ava when it first happened.
Right. Because that was a while ago.
And I also don't know that much about Hideaki Anno, the man. I know that in the 90s, before the show was produced, he experienced a big, a battle with depression. But I think that he had largely come out of it by the time this show came out. Like, the show was based on what he experienced at that time. And that's about all I have to say. How about you, though? How about this? This was your first time watching Evangelion.
Yeah.
So give me, what are your thoughts about not just these episodes? You can talk about that if you want, but about the series as a whole. Just how do you feel about Neon Genesis Evangelion?
I think it's a really good show. I think it does character building and development better than probably anything I've seen so far, except possibly Bebop.
What you mean in terms of anime?
Yeah, in terms of well, I haven't seen too many great Western TV shows. Most of the stuff I watch is trash.
It's because you haven't watched
normie trash.
So it's good at building characters.
It's good at building characters. It builds a world that makes you want to know more about it. It leaves you so many questions. It leaves you wanting more. And it does not satisfy those questions in the end. Like it just leaves you like, well, too bad.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're giving the show enough credit there. Obviously, you're giving it credit for making you want to watch more and learn more. But the show delivers a whole lot, dude. We learn what Avas are, which is like the big question at the start. What the heck is this?
It's a human.
Yeah, it's
a big human.
It's a human with robotic, armor.
It's a human with armor that is designed to restrict it, to stop it from going nuts and ending the world.
Yeah, and it's also powered by it has to sync with its child, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's a complicated idea that the show slowly reveals to us and feeds us information about.
Right. I mean, that's not what I was talking about, though. I was talking about within the confines of the show. It doesn't.
What questions do you still have that it didn't resolve for you?
What happens with the Human Instrumentality Project? What the heck was the whole point of finding Adam in episode 8?
Is that episode 8 when that happened?
episode 7 or 8. It was around the time because it was when Asuka came in, because Kaji came in on the boats with Adam.
Oh yeah, I see.
So and that's when he delivered it. Was the episode right after
Well,
that?
So why did like Gendo want that?
Yeah, why did Gendo want it? What was its purpose? What did it do?
It probably has something to do with instrumentality, right? Because it's on his
right,
hand
but what?
now. Well, yeah.
That's there. I like to have everything answered.
Well,
I want to know the answer to everything.
You'll get more in End of Evangelion, but the show won't spell it out in the way that it sometimes did in the TV show. It's good. End of Evangelion is mostly visual. You're gonna see stuff going on that may answer some questions for you, but it probably gives rise to others. Because you're gonna see instrumentality happening in End of Eva.
Yeah,
and it's not just going to be a bunch of people with black backgrounds sitting in chairs.
Yeah, I know. The ending to me was just, I had stuff I wanted answered and it didn't happen, which isn't entirely a fault of the show. Although I really do think that the ending was phoned in.
A lot of people think that. Yeah. I don't think it was the greatest.
I still like it, or I still really like it as a work overall.
Yeah.
But if I rewatch it, I'll probably won't watch the last 2 episodes.
You'll just skip to the movie if you end up liking the movie.
Yeah, if I end up liking End of Evangelion, I'll just skip 25, 26 and go straight to that.
I think you know how when franchises get big and complicated enough, people kind of make
guides.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people at this point who have experienced Eva. Like they've watched 1 to 20 and then they watch the director's cuts of 21 to 24 and then they just go to End of Evangelion. And it's just TV, right? So there's nothing wrong, with doing things that way. But you do miss out on, I think it's cool to know because Eva is obviously so iconic and was such a milestone series in anime history. Yeah. So I think it's good to know how the show concluded and why there was such an uproar when it finished the way it did. And this way watching 25 and 26 kind of gives you a basis for understanding End of Evangelion because there's real potential for confusion if you watch that movie and you don't really know what's supposed to be happening. You'll figure out what I mean by that.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
That'll be our second special episode. Yeah. When we do that one.
We'll probably need just an episode just for End of Eva. It is I've watched a lot of movies, not just anime movies. There was a period in my life, like when I was at college and I was just watching a movie every single night I just wanted to like watch a lot of movies,
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of like artsy stuff, stuff that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me even. And End of Eva is one of the most disturbing and confusing things I've ever seen.
Well, I like disturbing.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. I'm glad that you liked Evangelion. I'm glad to hear you speculating about how you might rewatch it in the future, indicating that you have some interest in that.
Yeah,
I know you started watching it with a buddy of yours.
Yep.
And regardless of whether that keeps happening, I think Eva is a show that you can come back to and get something out of every single time. I enjoyed rewatching it. In particular, the stuff that I paid attention to this time through were the confrontations between the mental confrontations between angels and people. The one that Shinji has.
Whenever I watch something or do anything for the second time, I pick up a lot more than I did initially.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to things that are subtitled.
Yeah.
Because you miss a lot of the visuals. I mean, you don't miss a lot of them, but it draws your eyes away, and especially on a show that moves frame to frame as quickly as this does sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
You can miss a lot of the visual parts of it.
And sometimes you can't miss it, even if you look away from the screen for a full minute and a half.
Yep.
You'll still see everything there is to see.
I don't know if they did that just to, if it was symbolic of how powerful the moment was supposed to be, or if they're like, well, we got to stretch this out.
I think it's both. But I mean, the elevator scene between
that was on purpose. That wasn't like we don't have any money. That was
how do you know? The production was probably in turmoil even at that point, because that was like 21 or 22, maybe
something like that. Yeah, that is definitely possible. But I felt like it was done on purpose.
Yeah, I agree. I like the elevator scene more than the scene with Unit 01 gripping Kawaru and threatening to kill him. That one is that one in episode 24 that we just watched, not as good to me as the elevator scene, which I think is really cool.
Which I thought was a great usage of space and time, you know?
Okay.
I'm doing my my snobby
impression
anime
of me.
My snobby anime consumer voice.
Okay. Well, I guess that's as good a place to end this episode as any.
I'd say so.
This has been our coverage, our hopeless, rambling discussion of Evangelion, the TV version 1 to 26. We'll be back at some point with our opinions and
thoughts on EOE.
Yeah,
as it's lovingly referred to, apparently.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. I'm ready.
My body is ready, as is my mind. Well, maybe not that one.
Your mind might be broken after you watch the movie. I don't want to actually, you know what? I'm hyping it up too much. It is. I do think it's a great film. And I do think that it's going to be a mindfuck for sure. But I don't want to make it out to be like a masterwork. Some people think that it is, but we'll draw our own conclusions and we'll report back to our loving audience.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So the next episode will probably be like another winter 2018 seasonal thing, but we'll get End of Eva up eventually.
Yep.
And that's it. Everybody, take care of yourself.